Greetings from Tucson. It's Laura from the Yarn Closet, and we have a prize winner. There was a lot of chatter with the last podcast, and I was very excited by that. That was so much fun. I really love doing this. I really love getting to know you and reaching out and all the fun stuff that comes with that. I finally figured out a way to kind of revamp my little nook here and sit in a real grown-up chair while I'm podcasting and still not have to wear a bra because you can't see my girly parts. So the winner is, let me refer to my notes. Most of the chatter was from people we knew, so I found an app where I could put in names. All of the people who were chattering on the Yarn Closet group in Ravelry, which is great. Get on there, get active. I love to do giveaways. I do about one a week or two, so the more active you are, the more chance you have of winning, and some people have won multiple times. Although I'm making an effort that doesn't happen. I am Yarn Closet Arizona personally on Ravelry. I'm also Yarn Closet Arizona, that's AZ, on Instagram. So the winner was off of the chatter in the Yarn Closet group, Lydia Knitting. I did respond to her. I need you to contact me, theyarncloset@yahoo.com, or message me through Ravelry and get me an address. And what have you won? The chatter was in reference to Greetings from Tucson. What is it? Greetings from Tucson is a reference to a short-lived sitcom back in 2003. The bonus question that nobody got is what is EG's? EG's is a chain of restaurants just here in Tucson that has these sub sandwiches. They're known for cold ones mostly, and cold icy with fruit cup things. I don't think they're fabulous, but people have them shipped all over. People from here think it's fabulous. I do love the BLT. My kids like the soft pretzels. My husband likes anything when he has an appetite. So nobody got that. We had a number of people voting for Are You Club, Team Tracy or Team Jody. If you don't know what I'm referring to, it's the Grocery Girls. They are another knitting podcast. They became quite active quickly. People love them. They're sisters. They're a riot. They're from Canada. Who doesn't love the Canadians? So if you haven't checked them out, check them out. I will say that for the most part, Team Jody won. Apparently, this is just my take on it. And we do have a very young viewer out there in Sweden. She's 21. So take some notes, honey. I think Team Jody won because we're all women of a certain age starting to deal with certain issues. And Jody just puts it out there, all of it. And once you're over 40, you kind of like that. I don't know, most of us feel like we've earned it. And the world starts to treat you not fabulous. You have like this mini window of time where you get like some extra play because you're maybe cute or because you're youthful or whatever, and then all of a sudden, poof, that's gone. So I'm claiming my over 40 status, soon to be 50, just a few more years. It feels awfully close. And I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna enjoy my acne at this age because I looked it up. Apparently when you have acne in your hairline, it's because of your workouts. My workouts. So my body thinks I'm working out. all I ever do is walk back and forth from home and school, which is at most a half a mile. And I don't do it all that often, maybe once, maybe twice a week. And I'm sure it's really hormones. There's not a lot you can do about that. And maybe it's just because I've been trying too many different older lady products. I don't know. I know when I was younger and going through the hormone thing, I didn't have much of an issue, but I didn't do much to my skin. So maybe I'm overdoing, because my daughter and I have very, very sensitive skin. Which leads me, Lydia, I'll get back to your prize. Which leads me to the next thing. I have a friend in Tucson, not in Tucson, in Arizona, Growly Bear products. Natural deodorants, soaps, creams. We have found that they work really well on my daughter's skin, and she is the most sensitive person I've ever known. I'm going to get some of her products, and they will be a part of the giveaways, because she ships all over, and they really are fabulous. You know, I've done a lot of those kind of products, and hers are more substantial. That's the word I come away with. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm lighting from above, so I have this glistening, and I'm just far enough away that I'm not exactly sure what's happening. Okay. So I'm looking forward to that. It'll be like deodorants, soaps, creams. My daughter loves the foot cream. Whatever. She does it herself. I do it myself. Nobody's here right now. That's why we have peace and snoring dogs. I was hoping to go to my LYS, local yarn shop, for the knit afternoon on Sundays, but that didn't work out. My husband had an opportunity for an activity, so I'm going to let him do that. And my local yarn shop in Tucson is called the Birdhouse Yarns. Pretty fabulous, pretty nice. So Lydia, what you will get is a little stitch marker that's Braille. This dot here means the start of reading. And then it's ST, I believe, for striped. Did I nail it? Did I nail it? I'm not sure if that's the exact one you'll get, but you will get one of those, and you will get a tube of yarn. That has been cranked up on my circular sock machine. Most people are wanting just the full tube. So basically you're getting a really nice skein of yarn cranked up, and you get to see what all the rigmarole is about that. So let me go to my little stash here and grab something. All right, this is a Hawthorne Knit Picks. I know where I start and where I end and the amount of rows, except, my dear, I don't think I did on this one. So anyway, it's a full 100 grams, and they usually have 450 plus rows. I will say this, the thing about the Hawthorne fingering, and I do love the Hawthorne. I think they have some really neat colors, especially for the price. And this is a lovely speckle. I would throw in some really fabulous hot pink, or if you were going to give it to a man, you could do black, because I think the colors are hot pink, black, and yellow. And where did my daughter run away with my measuring tape? And this one was cranked just the skein. A lot of times I'll throw in 10 grams or 20 grams of miscellaneous that I have sitting around, because we all do, and what do you do with that stuff? I'm not one of those throw it all together for a project where I have 16 gazillion ends to weave in. All right, and I'm going to try to figure out the gauge. I'm getting better at gauge, but this was cranked right as I was still working on it. So most of the tubes are going to come 64 stitches in a tube at 9 stitches per inch. This one is, and then I get confused with my eyes. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8.5 to 9. I mean, it's right there. It's right there. So you might not love it for socks, but I will tell you this. If you use it at that gauge and then wash it up, like what I was saying about the hawthorn, it doesn't have the best feel when you work it up, but once you wash it, and I just throw it in the washer and the dryer, if I feel really confident about the ends that I've woven in, it blooms, it softens, it's just fabulous. So if you're a little sad when you get it, remember, wash it up, wash and dry when you're done, and it will be fabulous. So here's the other thing. 10, 20. Really? I've never done this. The tube itself is about 60 inches long. Yeah. Holy smokes, Batman. So you can definitely, I oftentimes get 2 pairs of socks easily out of a full tube when I put in the heels and the toes, and I don't rib my cuffs very often. I don't like it, so I will either finish it with a rolled cuff or a hung hem. So what I mean by that, what do I mean by that? This is a hung hem. I'm making some leg warmers for somebody, and see, I even dropped 1 stitch back a few and had to pick it up, and it was fine. What it will look like on the right side of the work, see that? You get a little bit of the indentation. Then this part here is double thick. I mean, we've all done it on hats and stuff. And this is at a looser gauge. This is at like a 7, because they're gonna be leg warmers, and they will shrink up some when they're washed. Here is how I do it. I take the tube inside out. I weave my magic loop through a row of stitches, and then I pull out what's known as the waste yarn. And then people freak out because they're like, waste yarn? You mean you're just throwing away all that yarn? Well, you know, some people do and some people don't. I make my best effort to reuse waste yarn. So I just nipped off a part. It's probably about 6 inches long. I won't reuse that. This I will probably use for sewing in one of my other hung hems that I'm going to do today. And then what I do is I unravel, okay. Here. Do you see? It's really easy for me when I'm doing something that's striped. Because do you see the little blips, the garter blips? So now I have the individual stitches on the wire, and I can sew through with my tail into these garter blips, and I can keep my row, and I don't get lost. It's fabulous. And I might do this end longer than this end, so there's kind of like an upper and a lower. They're not going to match anyway, because I took two individual Felicis and just cranked them all at a very loose gauge, because I'm not sure exactly who they're going to. I think I know, but I'm not sure if that child will really want them or if mommy will want them, and mommy's thighs are a bit bigger than her teeny tiny baby child, so that way it'll still work. And here is a more luxurious grown-up pair. I just cranked out at, I believe, the 9 stitches per inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What's that blip about? Yeah, this is just over 8. Because I wanted a little bit more give. That's right. I totally forgot I did this last night. Okay, so what I did, this is a 10-gram mini, 150 rows, 10-gram mini, another 10-gram mini. I will split here and do a thin hung hem or a thicker hung hem where it's just where you don't see where the mini's on the inside. And then possibly the mini I will unravel a bit and do a thicker hung hem, once again the bigger and the smaller, and do it just on the inside, so that these will be all just this pale light pink, a little bit more grown up-ish, and honestly shorter, because even after I hang the hems on this one, they'll end up probably shorter, which is fine. I mean, here I don't know that you'd want the longest of leg warmers, and yes, I have owned leg warmers in the last 10 years living here. Your feet get cold. I don't always love wearing socks, because if I'm running in and out, I don't like wearing the socks on the hard ground, terracotta-y stuff, whatever, cement outside. And all of the tile freezes your feet, man, freezes them. So what else am I doing? I am just so close with finishing this pair of shorty socks. The tube that was cranked out of this lovely red was, I actually got 3 pairs of socks out of. I wanted to do a deeper heel, but I didn't on this one. And so then I actually did this mother-daughter increase, so that I got 1 extra stitch on the end. So the heel itself is it seems a bit puckery here, because I put that extra stitch in anyway. I normally am liking to do a deeper heel, but I had started these before I had started to try the deeper heel. So I'll take an extra 2 stitches on each side before I put in the heel. And I tend to like to knit up 3 or 4 rows before I put in the heel, because I don't like the look of the heel when it's just like a single slice of pie, where it looks like it should be a couple of slices of pie. You know, here's your heel, and I just like it where it feels like the heel is the heel and not just this little itty bitty stretched out part. So, and the toe is not very big on these because I was hoping these would be for me, but then I realized that I placed them back too far. So they're way too big for me. So I made the smaller toe because I think I know someone that will fit them. And this was just waste yarn that I wove in because I hadn't decided what to do. It just makes me think of something funny. So I might just leave it there. I don't know. Otherwise, what it's going to look like, and let's be honest, sometimes you just want to be done. Otherwise, what it's going to look like is that. It's just going to have a hung hem. I love red and purple. I love it. Yeah, so once again, this will fit pretty loosely up your leg, just fine. Yeah, so obviously I did not finish as many FOs as I was hoping for. See this? This is the end. Okay, if you remember, 2 strands of this green. I don't know how I got off, but one ran out here, so then I just finished, because I was on my binding off row, I just continued to bind off in the same manner, but with only one. This is the kind of thing, and yeah, you can totally feel the difference. I think you can see the difference if you're a knitter, but if you're not a knitter, you're not ever going to notice. Not ever. I do not love the shape of it because of this. I was doing a slower increase here, and I don't know what I was thinking. If I was thinking I was already going to be done with that section and do more layering in of rows, and then realized I didn't have as much, but this is where I started to change my shaping, and it was far more abrupt, and I'm hoping that I can block it out a bit, but I should have done it right here, or I should have done it right here. Because I like the shape of the end part. It's thinner and longer, more wrappy. This bulkier corner doesn't thrill me. I'm not going to do that again. But I do love the pop of color, you know, that you can wear it and hide the crazy color, or you can be in pink or green. And I've decided that, and then I just like these little wooden pins. My mom was at a craft fair yesterday and wanted to get me a bunch of these pins. And I'm like, no. Bam, it's done. And they're just smooth and they go in and out, and it's fine. It's fine. I like the simple. I knit to relieve stress. Therefore, I'm going to knit what works for me right now in my life. And what works for me right now in my life is toes and heels, hung hems, garter stitch, shawls, and I am going to attempt to figure out the top-down raglan sweater this next year. That may be the only sweater style I do. The bonus there is that you can do a nifty little t-shirt or a cardigan by either steeking, which does not scare me, or you know, top down but flat, for lack of a better word, and then putting in the rest of your sleeve after. I have a line brand pattern that I've had for a while, and Very Pink Knits. Is that what it's called? The blonde lady who's really tall, that my daughter's gonna look like someday. And I hope she's a knitter like that. She has a tutorial on it, and it's pretty easy to follow, and I think that's where I'm going. I do plan on keeping up the giveaways because I think everyone should feel and figure out this sock tube thing. The hubbub last year online about people with sock machines, that's, cheating, and that's this and that's that. That's craziness. Would you say that to somebody with a sewing machine? That's craziness. It's just a different part of what we do. It's just a different technique, a different avenue. And a lot of people just do the tubes because the stupid ribber is stupid. It's hard. So a lot of people just do tubes and put in afterthought toes and heels and cuffs. And I've been playing around. You can still do a little bit of lacy design work, and I'm excited to do a little bit more of that this year, but keep it still very simple. I'm trying to just keep things simple because there is enough other drama going on. My son is homeschooling in January, online homeschooling, and he is not fabulous on the computer, and they are letting him stay in 6th grade because he's honor roll grades. He skipped 5th. So I know that there's going to be a lot with me and working on that with him this next couple of quarters. But I'm hoping by the end of the 3rd quarter that he's just rolling with it and can manage it more on his own schedule, and that I can just look behind the scenes and make sure things are happening. We also have it set up that he can go to my parents' house to do that, to physically do that, to be on the computer and do his work on days that I'm at work, so that my husband has some privacy at home to rest. My husband has a couple of interstitial lung diseases, and many of you know that those are oftentimes terminal. Not necessarily quick terminal, but terminal. And his health has changed a lot in the last 2 years. He's a different person. He's able to hide it really well from a lot of the extended family, and we accommodate that so that when he is home, he's oftentimes resting. And gosh, I don't understand when stuff like this happens to kids. I don't understand the plan. And maybe it's because it touches a nerve. I got a divorce from my last husband, my son's father. And that's a decision I made for myself, but it's a decision that my son had to pay the consequences for. And some of the consequences were good, and some of them were bad. And now I know that my daughter is going to have to live through something similar because her dad's not going to live to be 80. And we had her, I was 43, he was 42. So that's just a thing that weighs. And I try not to let it show too often because we're still here, we're still living, we're just living differently. And I know what that is like. I used to drive a car. I used to not be legally blind, and I used to read books. Regular print books. Oh my gosh, I would read 5, 6, 7 a week. I just loved it. I loved the voices that I came up with in my head. I loved the pictures in my head. And that has worked really well as I've lost my sight, because when people explain things, I have a great capacity for coming up with a picture, a plan, and understanding in my head. Although sometimes it backfires because sometimes my brain tries to trick my eyes into thinking that they're seeing something that they're not. The other day I thought I saw a row of golf carts. Golf carts are here. People have them. People drive them around. It's a thing. But they weren't, that's not what I was seeing. I was seeing the solar panels and people's parked cars underneath. But from just the angle and stuff, my brain was thinking golf carts. My brain's a bit nutty. What else? Hey, I have show notes. Huh. Okay, we talked about the moving around of things so I can sit in a grown-up chair. We talked about the couple of finished objects this weekend. We talked about Lydia, showed her the yarn tube, the braille tag. Please get a hold of me at the Yarn Closet at yahoo.com or Yarn Closet AZ on Ravelry. And then every time you rearrange, it's not like the stash gets bigger, but I like to rearrange so the stash is more organized and so I can see it more. So like I pulled out where I still had my sweater quantities of yarn that I don't love. I pulled them out of the boxes and I put them in a little bin so I can see them. I now have my merino mixes and my merinos over here with my Yarn Closet prizes. Over there, since it's by my sock machine, I have my book about the sock machine. I have caked up and not caked up sock yarn skeins, all my miscellaneous stuff. Oh yeah, because you're talking about the waste yarn. So I keep all the little tidbits, and when I'm doing stuff, one end is usually a little tidbit. Because I don't want to buy extra special stuff, and the few times that I have, it hasn't been skeined or caked up well. And if there's pressure on your yarn feeding into the machine, it gets really ornery. Don't laugh at my LuLaRoe. Okay, that's a big chunk. There's some other bigger chunks that are acrylic. But a lot of this stuff is my little tiny ends from weaving in ends and whatnot. I just save it, and eventually I make a pillow or a snake, a snowman, a teddy bear. I make a stuffed animal or something. Because especially with the acrylic, I feel really guilty. I didn't realize for years and years that acrylic was kind of like putting plastic bags in the universe. It was totally not going to break down. My understanding is that acrylic will last forever. That's why I'm trying to use up the acrylic I have and not purchase more of it. Purchase just wools and cottons and linens and, you know, natural fibers. Because I'm not crazy nutty environmentalist, but a simplified life works really well for me. It's less I have to remember. I was telling my husband, living with him is kind of nuts because he likes the extra furniture, he likes the extra stuff. And here in Tucson, you don't have a lot of closet space in your houses. So everything is just, it's like this. You know, my yarn closet is now in this little nook. That was just big enough for our table. So it's kind of like an open closet. And busyness, when my eyes are really tired and stuff, can give me more of a headache. Also, I run into more corners of things when there's more little end tables and whatnot. But I do understand that it's adding a lot of hominess. So I like that for my kids. So anyway, when we talk about waste yarn, it's not that I'm just throwing away a bunch of yarn, nor do I think most of us do that. But all the little bits and pieces end up in my bag and end up in a pillow or, like I said, a stuffed animal of some sort. And I'm trying to do simple things, and I want to do the raglan sweater, but I'm pretty sure this is a raglan type lightweight ponchette, and I have cast-on-itis. I'm feeling the weight of the craziness and the schedule at work. Last week felt like 3 days, and it was exhausting. And it was just bam. And holidays, I'm not looking forward to the holidays. We're already having lots of drama about that because we're splitting them up this year. I'm doing my family and the kids, and he's going to his family. And that's fine. That's fine. People don't quite realize in his family that we've been married for 4.5 years in January. So if he wants to spend time with his family, then he can. But my family also deserves to have the occasional holiday with the grandkids because my family's all quite a bit older. My dad's 80. He can't drive anymore. He lives in a 55 plus. And granted, they always have activities and things, and he's involved, and he doesn't feel lonely. But I want to do some of the holidays with him there with the kids. And we still have one great grandma left on my mom's side, and I want the kids to be able to, and her to be able to enjoy that. Because oddly enough, my children are the only children she likes. I'm not making that up. So we're already starting to feel a little bit of the stress of that. And I also think it is that it allows my husband to pick and choose when he's done. And if he's at an event where he's not worried about our kids, that gives him a little bit more energy. He doesn't really like to talk about it. I try not to talk about it too much, but you're the only people I can talk to about it. So I'm gonna. I would love a little more chatter. And remember that I give things away. I have almost weekly giveaways. I don't think that's gonna stop throughout the holidays. Maybe the actual week of the holidays, maybe. But I've loved the chatter, and I would love some more chatter. One of the things I would love is, who do you watch? Who are your other knitting podcasts? Because mine, I've come to realize, have fun voices. Amy Beth, Fat Squirrel Speaks, Levi, WTF Knitting, Barbara, Knitting I Love, Amy from Stranded Dye Works, Kay and Bakery Bears, Kay and Dan. And they all have great voices, and I like to listen to the voices. The Knit Girls, of course, they have slight accents. So anyway, let me know who you listen to or watch, so I have some more options out there. I put in for the SSK lottery. Here's hoping, here's hoping. My husband is like, terrified. He hates me traveling on my own. The thing is, you get on an airplane, you get there, you take a taxi to the place, you're at the place. You take a taxi to the airport, you get on a plane, somebody picks you up. I mean, it's not that hard. So that's everything I have for today. I'm not sure. I think I have maybe another hour without the kids. So I'm going to take advantage of it and try to finish up my leggings and my pair of socks, get a load of laundry in, and do the mom life. I am so grateful for all of you. And Lydia, give me an address.